Here we are in Denville, at the Denville station, and this train is operating on the Morris and Essex line. This is a Saturday, September 4th, I believe, and it's headed west. And then this is the Montclair-Boonton Line over here, so this is where the two lines intersect. It's my first time ever being here, so this is a novelty to me. So this is the Montclair-Boonton Line, where trains do not run on weekends. And there's a little bus shelter. It must be like a signal tower there. So this is where the two lines meet. I wonder how many people actually transfer trains. Well, it's the Morristown line. I called it the Morris and Essex line before, the Morristown line. Let's get our lines straight. Here's where we are. And here's Denville right here. So I guess the Morris and Essex line comes this way, and then it goes to Peapack and Gladstone one way, and then the Morris Town line goes this way to Morristown, and then meets up here at Denville, and then they all go out to Hackettstown here in western New Jersey. So, fair amount of parking here. So there's a siding here, but it's basically a single track railroad for passengers. So when there's a train going in one direction, there's no train that can go in the opposite direction unless they go onto a siding. It's looking straight into the sun, but I'm holding up my camera cover over the sun so I can see. This is looking back east. So it's quite the nexus of activity out here in the far western burbs. Let's just see what there is to see over here on the Morristown line, part of the station. They have bike lockers, which I have not seen before at a New Jersey Transit station. I'm sure they exist, I just haven't seen any at any of the stations I've gone through. So each direction has a little mini high-level platform for handicap access. And the Morristown line is electrified. It has an overhead catenary. The Montclair-Boonton line is not electrified. It's only electrified as far as Montclair State University. So this is actually a two-track line here. A little shelter. Nothing fancy, but it seems like a lot more is going on here just because it's where the two lines meet. So anyway, Denville in Morris County. This is one stop past Mountain Lakes on the Montclair-Boonton Line. This just shows you a little bit of downtown Denville, which has an extra wide main street where people can do slant parking, and it's like all the spaces are taken up pretty much. A lot of outdoor dining options going on. It's very nice. Very fancy looking Chinese restaurant over there. So we're looking west down the track, the single track of the Montclair-Boonton Line, and we're at the Mountain Lakes station. And this building had to have used to be the station. It's now called The Station Restaurant. Looks very nice. So that's the level of construction they went to on the Lackawanna Railroad. So now the station itself is just this little structure with a canopy on it and a ticket vending machine. In what is a very nice town, Mountain Lakes, just to give you the idea. Nice stone walls and walkway with the signage that says Mountain Lakes. So we don't have to worry about any, at least passenger trains. Today it's a Saturday because the Montclair-Boonton Line does not run on weekends, at least any further north than Bay Street, Montclair. So that also means it doesn't run to Montclair State University on weekends, or in most of Montclair. So this is it. It's a straight shot east towards Boonton from here. Mountain Lakes Station. This is just a little park I found between Boonton and Mountain Lakes. And this is the Rockaway River, which is raging right now after the residual rainstorms we had after the Hurricane Ida that swept through the eastern U.S. But this just shows you the amount of work that went into a rail line that crossed the river here. They had to build this trestle, and so much work and material was put into this, and now it's in disuse. Now this connects to the Montclair-Boonton Line, and there's a Lackawanna warehouse, freight house, back behind me a little bit. So it's pretty interesting. I saw what looked like a park up the road a little bit when I parked at the Lackawanna freight house, and this just shows you the trestle. Isn't this interesting? And a beautiful area. This is a circular relic. I don't know what this was all built for, or if this was railroad related or what. It's something. So we can see through the trees this trestle that carried the train tracks across this river, the Rockaway River. And it's something. So this flows down river past the town of Boonton, which is an interesting town with a good-sized downtown. So just another interesting place to check out in northwestern New Jersey. Here's the Lackawanna freight house I was talking about. That is parallel to the Montclair-Boonton Line, which is the former Erie-Lackawanna Railroad. So the name of this little park in Boonton is the Grace Lord Park, if you want to find it, where that railroad trestle is. Right across from the Lackawanna freight house. This looks fixed up, almost like it could be a restaurant or a catering hall across from Grace Lord Park. The Lackawanna freight house. And here's the Montclair-Boonton Line. It's got some sightings. There's some old passenger cars down there. I don't know if you can hear it in the distance, but that's the Highway 287 that goes around the Newark area on the western side.